What if the universe has no meaning, yet we live as if it does? That tension lies at the heart of Albert Camus' thought. He didn't offer comforting answers. He offered honesty. And in that honesty he found a surprising kind of freedom. Albert Camus was a French-Algerian philosopher, writer, and journalist, best known for shaping the idea of the absurd, the clash between our deep longing for purpose and a universe that offers none. While often grouped with existentialists like Sartre, Camus insisted he wasn't one. His path was different, less about despair, more about defiance. He was born in 1913 in a small Algerian town called Mondovi. His father died in World War I when Camus was still an infant. Raised in poverty by his mother, who was nearly deaf and illiterate, Camus knew hardship early, yet he was brilliant. But unlike most French intellectuals of his time, he didn't grow up in cafes. He grew up under colonial sun, surrounded by working-class silence. That shaped him forever. Camus believed that humans crave meaning. We want life to add up, for suffering to have a purpose. But the universe remains silent. No divine plan, no cosmic justice, just the raw, indifferent fact of existence. That, to Camus, is the absurd. But absurdity isn't something to be solved. It's something to be faced. In his famous 1942 essay, The Myth of Sisyphus, Camus compares human existence to a Greek myth. Sisyphus, condemned to roll a boulder uphill forever, only for it to fall back down. It seems pointless, and it is. But Camus flips the story. He imagines Sisyphus not as defeated, but as free. Because once we accept that life has no higher meaning, we are liberated from the illusion that it must. We can live fully, lucidly, without lies. This idea echoes in his breakthrough novel, The Stranger, published the same year. Its protagonist, Meursault, is disarmingly indifferent. He doesn't fake grief at his mother's funeral. He doesn't pretend to feel love or remorse. He doesn't play by society's emotional rules. And in the end, he's punished not so much for a crime, but for refusing to lie about life's emptiness. But Camus was no nihilist. Far from it. He believed in living with dignity, even without cosmic meaning. He urged us to rebel, not with violence, but with integrity. To live without appeal, he wrote, is the condition of a free man. During World War II, Camus joined the French resistance. He became editor of Combat, an underground newspaper fighting Nazi occupation. For him, resistance wasn't abstract. It was moral necessity. Camus didn't believe in heroes, not the kind we see in stories or history books, who fight for big causes and are remembered as legends. He was suspicious of people who claim to act for a greater good, especially when that meant hurting others. Instead, he believed in something quieter, but just as important: basic human decency. For Camus, true courage wasn't about grand gestures. It was about ordinary people doing what's right, even when no one is watching, even when there's no reward. Like the doctor who keeps treating patients during a deadly outbreak, or someone who tells the truth when it would be easier to lie, or a person who chooses kindness, not because it changes the world, but because it's the decent thing to do. He called this clear-eyed humanity, seeing the world honestly, with all its unfairness and suffering, and still deciding to act with compassion and integrity. That was the kind of rebellion he admired most. Not violent, not loud, but quiet and persistent. In 1957, when he was just 44, Camus won the Nobel Prize in Literature. He was one of the youngest writers ever to receive it. But only 3 years later, he died, suddenly, in a car accident. In the wreckage was the unfinished manuscript of The First Man, a deeply personal book about his childhood in Algeria. He was only 46, and yet, in that short life, Camus left behind a voice unlike any other: calm, honest, deeply human. He didn't offer false hope or easy answers. He didn't believe in salvation or perfect truths, but he gave us something else, a challenge. He said, accept the absurd, that life has no clear meaning, no final answer, and then live as if your actions still matter, because they do.